The stars burned quietly in the endless dark. Far away from Earth, alien voices argued inside a ship made of silver metal, its long wings cutting through space like blades. They spoke of planets worth claiming, worlds rich with mines, energy, and life. One alien laughed when the small blue world of Earth appeared on their maps. To them it was nothing but a forgotten rock, marked long ago as useless, weak, and silent. "Humans were a failed species," the navigator said, his voice dripping with pride. "Their machines broke, their wars consumed them, their history ended centuries ago." The ship's captain nodded, his 4 eyes narrowing. "Records show extinction, nothing left but ruins," he said. "Our empire crossed the stars, but Earth stayed behind. It is only dust now." Yet when the ship passed, close signals rippled through its sensors. Faint at first, like whispers, then sharp and deliberate. The crew frowned, adjusting dials. "Interference," one muttered, but another shook his head. "Not random, not natural," he whispered. "These are patterns." The captain leaned forward, his claws tapping the console. "Patterns?" "Yes," came the answer. "They look like codes, war codes." The crew grew silent, for war codes were not from nature. War codes came from minds that still planned, still resisted, still fought. They aimed their scanners toward the surface, expecting to see wrecks and broken towers, expecting nothing but dead soil. Instead, they found shadows moving in the ruins, heat deep underground, power lines buried beneath rubble, whole tunnels glowing with hidden life. The aliens stared, their laughter gone. "Impossible," one said. "Humans cannot still exist." But they did. Far below the ruined cities, men and women had not vanished. Their children had not faded. Their fires had not died. Humans had survived. In silence, waiting for centuries while the galaxy forgot them, they had dug bunkers, built machines from scraps, and carried stories of betrayal. Generations whispered of the day outsiders left them behind, left Earth to rot, while empires called them extinct. Humans told their young, "They will return, and when they do, we will be ready." Above, the aliens did not yet understand. They mocked again. "If there are survivors, they are rats, nothing more." But the captain felt unease. The war codes would not leave his mind, and so he ordered a landing. The ship descended into the shadow of an old city once called New York. Towers broken, rivers choked with dust, silence heavy. The aliens stepped out with their armor gleaming, their weapons humming. They expected fear, they expected cries, they expected begging. Instead, the ruins were still, too still. Their sensors caught whispers of movement, a flicker in the dark, the scrape of stone, the sound of something watching. The soldiers spread out, sneering. "Pathetic ruins, nothing to see," one said, kicking bones in the dirt. Then a light blinked on a wall, a small red dot. Before the alien could blink, the wall exploded outward. Fire ripped across the street. 3 soldiers vanished in a storm of steel. The rest roared. In confusion, their scanners blinded. From the rubble, humans emerged, lean and scarred, with eyes like fire, their armor mismatched, scavenged from ruins, their weapons crude but deadly. They moved fast, silent like hunters. The aliens opened fire, beams cutting through stone, but the humans did not fight like other species. They struck from shadows, then vanished, struck again, then vanished. Their tactics were not of empire, not of order, but of survival. The captain shouted, "Retreat! Retreat!" But the ground itself betrayed him. Tunnels collapsed, traps snapped shut. Humans had turned their ruined city into a battlefield when the aliens fled back to their ship, half their number gone. The humans did not chase. They only stood in the smoke, staring upward, their faces hard, their silence louder than any roar. The captain stumbled aboard, shaken. "They are not extinct," he whispered to his crew. "They are waiting." The ship launched, pulling free of the Earth's grip. But as it reached orbit, its systems flickered, alarms rang, the stars outside twisted. "What is happening?" cried one crewman. On the outer hull, scratched deep into the metal, words burned in crude English, words no alien could mistake. "Still here?" The crew stared, terrified. How had humans reached them? How had they cut into their ship? When had they boarded? None had seen, none had felt. But the message burned as truth. Far below, in the bunkers, humans gathered, elders, soldiers, children. They had watched the ship flee. They had seen fear in alien eyes. For the first time in centuries, they smiled. The leader, an old man with scars across his face, raised his hand, his voice rough. "They have returned, but so have we." The crowd roared, voices echoing through steel tunnels. "We were forgotten, but never gone." The old man's eyes turned upward, toward the stars. "They will come again," he whispered. "When they do, the galaxy will remember us." In the deep silence of space, the alien captain sent a report to his empire, his words trembling. "Earth is not dead. Humans remain. They are dangerous. They are waiting." His message ended with a final warning. "If you go there, do not laugh, do not mock, do not think them weak. For Earth was just a forgotten rock until we learned what humans can do. And in the tunnels of Earth, hidden machines powered up. Ancient satellites blinked awake. The long sleep was over. Humanity was not finished. Humanity was only beginning. The alien empire did not believe the captain's report at first. To them, Earth was a graveyard, a worthless stone drifting in the void. The idea of humans surviving in silence was laughable, but the recording he sent, the carved words on the hull. Still here, spread like fire across the empire's networks, officers who had never feared anything felt a chill, for no dead race could write warnings in fresh steel. The captain stood before the Imperial Council, his armor scratched, his voice low. "They are not gone," he said. "They live below the surface. They prepare for war. I saw it with my own eyes." The council sneered, their scales glittering under golden light. "Humans were a myth," one said. "A savage people who destroyed themselves. If they remain, they are weak, nothing more." Yet the captain pressed on. "Weak do not set traps that kill soldiers. Weak do not carve messages into ships. Weak do not wait in silence for centuries." But his words were drowned in laughter, and the Empire turned away. But not all. Whispers spread among scouts and merchants. Smugglers who once passed by Earth began to share strange tales. Ships shadowed without being seen. Transmissions cut with precision. Drones that looked like junk but moved with purpose. The Empire ignored them. But the galaxy listened. On Earth, the humans moved deeper into their bunkers. Their leader, the scarred old man, gathered his council. Around him were men and women who had never seen sunlight, but who trained daily in shadows, their muscles strong, their minds sharper. "We revealed ourselves too soon," one muttered. "They will come now with fleets. They will come to burn us." The old man shook his head. "No," he said. "They will not come yet. They do not believe, and that is our greatest weapon. Their arrogance blinds them. We still have time." His words echoed in the chamber, and the humans nodded. Children studied old maps of the stars, memorizing systems, memorizing trade routes. Young fighters drilled with scavenged rifles until their hands bled. Engineers welded machines from broken wreckage, turning ruins into weapons. Every day was preparation. Every night was waiting. But one alien ship returned secretly. Drawn by curiosity, it landed in the wastes of Siberia, its crew hoping to find easy prey. They did not expect to vanish without a single trace. Weeks later, their ship was found adrift beyond Mars. Engines cut, life support drained. Inside the walls were words burned in English again. "Watching you." The Empire grew restless. No one laughed anymore. Back in the Empire's capital, debates raged. If humans survived, then how? One minister asked. How could a primitive race outlast empires? How could they endure isolation? A scientist answered. Because they are unlike us. Unlike any of us, they adapt. They change faster than the stars shift. Their pain becomes strength. Their ruin becomes weapon. Where we would die, they endure, the ministers whispered, fear growing. Meanwhile, in the tunnels of Earth, the old leader walked among the people. He watched children paint stars on steel walls, each star marked with a name, not of worlds, but of fallen ancestors. We will go to them, one child said. One day we will show them who we are. The old man placed his hand on the wall, his eyes wet but hard. Yes, he whispered. We will. Above, hidden satellites stirred awake. Old Earth machines once thought dead blinked with light. They sent coded messages to the bunkers. They showed images of alien patrols circling the system. The humans smiled, for every patrol that came closer never returned. The Empire finally grew angry, pride wounded. They dispatched a larger force, a fleet of 10 warships, enough to burn a primitive world, their commanders boasted. We will wipe this forgotten race in one strike. Their tunnels will be graves. The fleet arrived with fire. Their cannons lit the atmosphere. Cities shattered again under bombardment. Forests burned, oceans boiled. They thought victory was certain, but Earth had prepared. From the ruins rose weapons disguised for centuries, towers hidden under rubble unfolded, launching swarms of drones, thousands of them, small, fast, biting like wasps. They ripped into alien hulls, cutting wires, eating engines, disabling shields. The skies turned into chaos. Alien warships fired in panic, but every shot killed only. More of their own as drones blinded their systems. From underground, missiles surged upward, splitting in air into hundreds of sharp fragments. Each fragment guided by human eyes. Alien shields collapsed, hulls cracked, fire spread across the fleet. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. One by one, the Empire's ships fell from orbit, slamming into deserts, mountains, and seas, their wrecks smoking, their crews scattered. Only one ship survived, fleeing desperately into the void. But even as it limped away, it carried scars across its metal. Scars carved by human hands, the words clear, "Your turn will come." The galaxy trembled. Reports spread faster than light. Smugglers, merchants, and spies carried the story, a forgotten race that had faced a fleet and left fire in its wake. Worlds long oppressed by the Empire whispered in hope. If humans live, maybe we can resist too. On Earth, the people gathered in the great bunker halls, cheering. But their leader raised his hand, silencing them, his voice steady. This was only the beginning, he said. They will send more, they will send greater, but we are ready, and we will not hide anymore. The crowd roared, voices shaking the steel, their echo rising like thunder, deep in the tunnels. Engineers opened doors to chambers sealed for generations. Inside rested ships made from scavenged parts, ugly and scarred, but strong, painted with symbols of Earth's past, flags of nations long gone. The young looked upon them with shining eyes. Are we leaving? One asked. The old leader smiled, thin but fierce. Yes, he said. The galaxy forgot us. Now we will remind them. The humans began to rise. The galaxy whispered of Earth. In hidden bars, in cargo bays, in the dark halls of old space stations. Smugglers told the tale of the forgotten world that struck down an imperial fleet. Some laughed nervously. Others swore it was truth. The Empire raged, its pride wounded, 10 ships destroyed by a race they had called dead. The High Emperor declared Earth a threat. We will burn them from history, he roared. his voice echoing across the council chamber. "No world, no child, no name shall remain." But fear lingered behind the anger, for every soldier who returned spoke of humans not as weaklings, but as shadows, fighters who turned ruins into traps, warriors who laughed in the face of fire, survivors who never surrendered. Meanwhile, on Earth, the bunkers shook with celebration, but beneath the cheering, the leaders knew the truth. Victory had only bought them time, not safety. The scarred old leader stood before the council of humans, maps flickering on the wall behind him, glowing with star systems. "We cannot wait for the Empire to strike again," he said. "They will send more, and next time they will come with thousands, not 10. A young woman stepped forward, her uniform patched with scars, her eyes sharp. "Then we take the fight to them," she said. "We cannot stay here. Like rats in tunnels, the stars were once ours. They will be ours again." The hall roared with agreement, but some trembled. "We are few," one elder whispered. "They are countless." The old leader's voice cut through the fear. "Yes, but they have grown soft. They have forgotten how to suffer. We have not. Our strength is not in numbers. It is in will." So the work began. The hidden hangars opened. Ships made from scrap rose for the first time in centuries, ugly, scarred, yet full of fire. Each carried weapons patched together from ruins of old wars, each painted with the symbols of Earth's forgotten nations. Flags that once divided humanity now flew together on steel hulls. Children pressed their hands against the glass, watching the ships lift, their hearts swelling with pride. "We are going back to the stars," they whispered. The first mission was not war, but scouting. 3 ships slipped into the void, silent as shadows, their engines masked, their signals disguised as drifting debris. They reached the nearest outpost of the Empire, a mining colony on a barren moon, guarded by a single cruiser. The humans watched, learning every pattern, every weakness. At night on that moon, alien guards walked lazily, their weapons slung carelessly. They laughed, for no one had challenged them in centuries. No one dared defy the Empire. Then came the strike. The human ships descended like falling stones, their hulls black against the void. Missiles cut through the cruiser before alarms even sounded. Drones swarmed the colony, shutting down power, silencing cannons. The aliens panicked. But humans did not fight with honor or tradition. They fought to win. Traps lit the ground. Charges blew open gates. Men and women stormed through smoke, their rifles sharp, their blades sharper. Within hours, the colony was theirs. The humans did not kill all. Some aliens they bound, some they freed. For among the slaves working the mines were species broken under imperial chains. When they saw humans standing tall, they wept. "You fight the Empire," one whispered. "Then you are hope." Word spread faster than fire. The forgotten humans had returned. They struck like lightning. They freed the broken. They defied the Emperor. But the victory came with a warning. The old leader spoke to his people. "We cannot fight like them," he said. "We do not seek thrones or crowns. We seek freedom. For us and for all who cannot fight, remember this, or we will become what we hate." The humans nodded, their eyes burning with conviction, yet the Empire did not sleep. They sent another fleet, larger this time, 30 ships, sleek and heavy with weapons. Their commander swore he would bring Earth itself as rubble to the Emperor's feet, but when his fleet reached the mining colony, it was gone, stripped bare. Every machine, every resource, every stone useful already taken by humans. What remained was only a message carved into the barren ground. "You are too slow." The commander howled in rage, but fear crept into his heart. For the humans did not fight where the Empire expected. They struck trade routes, seizing supplies. They disabled communications, turning whole sectors blind. They spread terror not by conquering, but by vanishing after every strike, leaving behind nothing but fire and warnings. In time, small worlds began to rise. Slaves armed themselves with stolen weapons. Rebels painted human words on walls, one phrase above all others. Still here, the Empire fought to crush them, but the more they struck, the more they found. Human hands behind the chaos, like ghosts. Humans spread beyond Earth once more, on Earth itself. The young trained harder. Children carried wooden rifles until they could hold steel. Women built engines with hands blackened by fire. Men drilled until their voices broke, and still they rose again. The scarred old leader watched them with pride, but also with sorrow. For he knew every step forward came with sacrifice. Every victory cost blood. At night he sat alone, staring at the stars through cracked glass. He whispered to the darkness, "We should have been forgotten forever, but you forced us to rise. Now we will remind you." The Empire began to fracture, not because of battles lost, but because of fear. Governors questioned if the Emperor was strong. Soldiers muttered of humans in their sleep. Merchants turned away from imperial docks, afraid of being marked. The Emperor roared with fury. He called upon his greatest weapon, a fleet so large it could shroud a system, led by a dreadnought older than empires. As it prepared, spies whispered the news across the galaxy. "They are sending the Iron Moon," they said. "The humans cannot stand against this." But in the tunnels of Earth, humans only smiled. Their leader raised his hand. "Then we will not wait for them to come. We will go to them." The hall thundered with a single cry, "To the stars." And so the humans began their boldest plan, not to defend Earth, but to carry war into the heart of the Empire itself, to strike where no one dared, to show the galaxy that forgotten does not mean broken. The ghosts of Earth were rising, and the galaxy was about to learn what that truly meant. The Empire's greatest weapon moved through space like a shadow blotting out the stars. It was not called a ship, but a world of iron, a dreadnought so large it carried its own storms, its own seas, its own armies. For centuries it had never been used. It was a symbol of power. Its very presence kept systems obedient. No rebellion had ever dared rise when the Iron Moon drifted near. Now it was moving toward Earth. The Emperor stood before his council, his voice cold as stone. "The humans must be crushed not with fire alone, but with fear. We will erase their name, their soil, their memory. None shall even whisper of them again." The council bowed. But unease lingered, for fear had already spread across the Empire. Rumors of humans striking colonies, carving warnings into steel, freeing slaves. Rumors that a forgotten race could not only survive, but inspire revolt. While the Iron Moon advanced, humanity prepared. In the deepest bunker beneath the ruins of the old world, the scarred old leader faced his people. Behind him flickered maps of the galaxy, bright points marking every strike they had made, every world now whispering of freedom. "They will come with their greatest weapon," he said. "They will come to show the galaxy they are still in control, but we will show the galaxy something greater, that no empire is greater than human will." His words lit fire in the hall. Men and women raised their fists, voices shaking the steel walls, ships lifted from hidden bays, patched with steel, engines roaring, ugly but fast. Each carried weapons forged from scraps, bombs built from the bones of old wars, fighters scarred. By years of training, the humans did not plan to meet the dreadnought above Earth. They planned something far bolder. "Our enemy thinks we will cower, that we will hide in our tunnels," the leader said. "Instead, we will strike into their heart. We will not wait for their Iron Moon to reach us. We will go to it." The fleet of Earth rose, small against the dark, but burning with fury. As they moved, whispers spread across the galaxy. Smugglers carried the news, slaves wept with hope, governors trembled. "The humans are going toward the Iron Moon," they said. "They are going to fight the Empire's pride." The dreadnought advanced, Slow, steady, each movement shaking space itself, its hull bristling with cannons the size of mountains, its shields glowing like suns. When the human fleet reached it, the galaxy watched. No one believed. No one thought victory possible. It was like ants attacking a star. But humans did not fight like others. They did not aim to destroy the dreadnought from outside. Its shields were too strong, its cannons too many. Instead, they planned to break it from within. "Board it," the leader whispered. "Turn their strength into their weakness." The human ships surged forward, dodging fire that shattered moons, weaving through storms of plasma, small and fast, their hulls breaking apart under the heat, yet still they flew. They slammed into the dreadnought's sides, not to destroy but to attach. Doors burst open, and humans poured into the beast like blood into a wound. Inside the dreadnought, the Empire's soldiers laughed when the alarms rang. "Rats," they said. Only rats could crawl aboard. But when they met humans in the dark halls, their laughter died. The humans fought with fire in their eyes, knives in their hands, rifles on their shoulders, but more than weapons they fought with rage. They had waited centuries in silence for this. Every step was a storm, every blow a memory of pain turned into strength. The dreadnought shook not from cannons, but from chaos inside. Corridors turned into battlegrounds. Soldiers screamed as humans cut through them. Machines fell silent as engineers tore wires with bare hands. In the control core, alien officers shouted in panic, "Seal the gates! Lock the halls!" But for every door closed, another exploded. For every wall raised, another collapsed. Humans would not stop. The scarred old leader himself entered the dreadnought, his rifle heavy, his breath slow. He looked upon the towering throne of command, and he whispered, "Your empire ends tonight." The humans planted charges not at the shields, not at the cannons, but at the heart, the dreadnought's core, the engine that fed its power. As the alarm screamed, the dreadnought's commander begged for reinforcements. "They are inside. They are tearing us apart." But no reinforcements came, for across the galaxy, rebellion had spread, and the Empire's fleets were too busy holding crumbling worlds. The iron moon cracked from within, fire bursting from its skin, whole sections breaking apart. The galaxy gasped, and then silence. From the wreck of the iron moon, small ships burst out, scarred and smoking, but alive, human ships, carrying warriors who had torn apart the Empire's greatest weapon from its own belly. The galaxy roared with shock. The unthinkable had been done. The symbol of the Empire shattered not by fleets, not by empires, but by a forgotten race once left to rot. Across 1,000 worlds, slaves lifted their heads, rebels raised weapons, whispers turned into screams. "If humans can break the Iron Moon, then we can fight too." The Emperor raged in his palace, his claws tearing through gold, his voice shaking halls. "Impossible, impossible," he cried, but even as he raged, fear crept into his eyes. On Earth, the humans gathered, their leader standing before them, his face lit by fire, his voice strong. "We have shown them. We have shown the galaxy that forgotten does not mean weak, that abandoned does not mean broken. We have shown them what humans can do." The people cheered, voices like thunder, their roar carrying across the stars. But in the shadows, the old leader whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning. They will not stop. They will not yield. We have torn their pride. Now they will bring their fury." He knew war was not ending, but only growing, yet for the first time, humanity was not hiding. Humanity was rising, and the galaxy, watching in awe, realized a truth that would never be forgotten. Earth was not a rock, Earth was a storm, and the storm had only begun. The wreckage of the Iron Moon drifted across space like the corpse of a god, once the Empire's greatest pride, now split open, its metal burning, its pieces falling into endless night. Across the galaxy, eyes widened, voices whispered. Slaves raised their heads, soldiers clenched their fists, merchants shifted their loyalties, for the impossible had happened. Humans had broken the unbreakable. On Earth, in the bunkers beneath ruined cities, people gathered around screens showing the debris fields. They cheered, they wept, they sang old songs. Their children pressed hands to the cold steel walls and whispered, "We are not forgotten anymore." The scarred old leader stood before his people, his voice firm. "We have torn down their pride," he said. "But pride is not their strength. Their strength is fear, and fear still binds the galaxy. If we are to survive, we must not only fight, we must free." Those words carried weight, for the humans had tasted victory, but victory was not enough. They knew the Empire would come again, stronger, angrier, desperate to crush the spark before it became a flame. The human fleet moved out once more, scarred ships patched again. Soldiers climbing aboard with tired eyes and burning hearts, each knowing they might not return, but each going willingly. Their first target was not a fortress, not a fleet, but a prison world, a place where the Empire kept those who dared resist. A black sphere of stone orbiting a dying star, its surface covered in cages and chains. The Empire believed no one would ever try to free such a place. But they had forgotten what humans had already shown, that no chain could hold forever. Human ships slipped in through the star's shadow, hiding in the light of its dying fire. Drones surged forward, cutting power lines, disabling sensors. Then the humans struck. They landed with fire, blowing gates apart, storming the black halls, their rifles blazing, their blades tearing. Prisoners screamed in shock, unable to believe anyone had come for them. Until they saw faces they thought extinct, faces of humans. "Rise!" the human warriors shouted. "Fight with us!" And the prisoners did. Chains became weapons, broken tools became blades, voices once silent turned into roars. The prison world burned, its towers collapsing, its guards fleeing. And when the human fleet rose again into the stars, it did not rise alone. It carried thousands of freed rebels, thousands of voices crying for freedom. News spread faster than light, whispers carried by smugglers, by freed slaves, by frightened governors. The humans are not conquerors, they are liberators. They free the chained. They fight not for crowns, but for hope. World by world, rebellion grew. On a farming planet, peasants seized weapons from their masters, painting the words, "Still here," on their barns. On a mining world, workers turned drills into cannons, shouting, "If humans can fight, then so can we." On distant moons, slaves carved the human, symbol into stone, their tears falling as prayers. The galaxy shifted, the Empire shook. The Emperor raged in his palace, his claws tearing through silk, his eyes burning. "This cannot be," he roared. "They were nothing. They were forgotten. They were dust." But his council sat in silence, for none dared tell him the truth, that dust had become storm. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans built alliances, freed prisoners joined their fleet, engineers from alien worlds taught new skills. Together they forged stronger ships, faster engines, sharper weapons. But still the humans never forgot their roots. Their ships remained scarred. Their fighters remained unpolished. They carried their wounds as banners. The scarred old leader gathered his council, his eyes tired but fierce. "We do not seek to rule," he said. "We do not seek thrones. We seek freedom, ours and theirs. And if we must burn through the Empire to win it, then so be it." But even as rebellions spread, the cost grew. Humans fell in battle, worlds bled, and whispers of sacrifice reached the children of Earth. One young boy in the tunnels asked his mother, Will father come home?" She looked into his wide eyes, her hands trembling. "He fights so you may never live in chains," she said, her tears falling quietly. The boy nodded, holding her hand, whispering, "Then I will fight too. For every life lost, another rose. For every soldier buried, another stepped forward." The Empire tried to respond. They sent fleets to crush the rebellions. But everywhere they went, they found the same words carved into walls, into ships, into the very ground, "Still here." The phrase became more than warning. It became anthem, a cry of defiance, a banner carried by the broken, and still the humans struck, not with numbers, but with cunning, disabling supply lines, stealing fuel, spreading terror, never letting the Empire rest, never letting it breathe. Soon, the Emperor's most trusted general spoke quietly in the council. "We cannot defeat them as we are," he said, "for we fight with fear, and they fight with fire." But the Emperor silenced him with rage, his pride greater than his wisdom. The scarred old leader, far away on Earth, looked into the stars and whispered, "Pride will be their fall, patience will be our weapon," and the galaxy, trembling, began to realize a truth it could no longer ignore. The forgotten rock was no longer silent. It was rising, and with it rose not only humans, but every world that longed to be free. The Empire cracked, not all at once, but in pieces, like glass under pressure. The rebellion that began as whispers now roared across the stars. Worlds once bent in chains lifted their heads, their voices calling for freedom, their banners painted, with the same human words, "Still here," no matter how many fleets the Emperor sent, no matter how many soldiers he threw into battle. The tide did not stop, for everywhere his armies went, they found humans, not many, not vast in number, but enough. Humans teaching rebels how to fight, humans showing slaves how to strike, humans bleeding from the shadows like fire guiding through night. The dreadnought was gone, the prison worlds were broken, and the Empire's governors began to question. Whispers reached the throne itself. "Perhaps the Emperor has lost his strength." They said, "Perhaps the humans are stronger than fear." The Emperor raged, his voice shaking his golden hall. "They are vermin, nothing more," he cried, but even his words could not hide the tremor in his hands. On Earth, the people felt the shift. They no longer lived only in tunnels, now whole. Cities above ground stirred with new life, towers rebuilt from rubble, gardens planted where fire once burned. Children ran under the open sky, laughing, pointing at stars. "Our fathers fight there," they whispered. "Our mothers stand against the Empire." The scarred old leader walked through these rebuilt streets, his eyes heavy, his heart torn between pride and sorrow. For every new city built, another ship left with soldiers who might never return. At night, in the war room, his commanders spread maps of burning sectors, planets glowing with revolt. "We have spread far," one said, "but we are stretched thin. The Empire may yet gather its core and strike us down." The leader nodded slowly. "Yes," he said, "but their core is cracking. Their pride is broken. If we press harder, if we strike deeper, the Empire itself will bleed." So humanity chose the bold path. They would not only fight at the edges, they would strike the heart. The target was the capital system, a cluster of shining worlds wrapped in endless fleets. The throne itself resting on a world of crystal towers, a city that had never known fire. The humans did not plan to conquer it. They knew their numbers too small. Instead, they planned to do what they always did, turn symbols into ashes. "We will remind them," the leader said, "that nothing is untouchable." The human fleet gathered, scarred ships patched again, rebels of 100 species joining, their banners flying beside, Earth's broken flags. When they entered the capital system, the Empire laughed, their fleets rising in waves, hundreds against dozens, shining ships against rusted steel. "Fools!" the Emperor cried. You bring scraps against the sun. But the humans did not charge blindly. Instead, they broke their fleet apart, splitting into shards, each darting in different directions, vanishing among moons and asteroids. The Empire's fleets spread to chase them, but the humans struck not at the warships, but at the lifeblood. Fuel depots exploded, communication hubs burned, supply lines shattered. The capital system shook, not from invasion, but from chaos. Every alarm screamed, every order tangled. Then the humans struck at the throne world itself, not with bombs, but with a single message broadcast across every screen, every tower, every street. The old leader appeared, his scarred face staring into the hearts of billions. "We were forgotten," he said. "You thought us dust. You thought us weak. But we are still here. And if you fight, if you rise, then no empire can chain you." The words hit like thunder. Slaves in the crystal streets dropped their tools. Guards hesitated. Children whispered, "Humans live." The emperor screamed for silence. But it was too late. The message had spread to every corner of his empire, not just his throne. His fleets pulled back, desperate to hold the capital. But by the time they returned, the humans were gone, vanishing into the void, leaving behind only fire and hope. The galaxy shook. Across distant stars, worlds once silent rose in rebellion, inspired not by fleets, but by a scarred old man's words, and by the knowledge that Earth, once forgotten, had struck the heart of the Empire itself. But with victory came cost. Human ships were lost, soldiers buried in silence, rebels burned on battlefields. In the tunnels of Earth, mothers wept, children cried, yet even through grief, they whispered. Still here, the empire began to collapse inward. Governors turned traitor, admirals fled. Some worlds declared independence openly, their skies lit with fireworks instead of chains, but the emperor did not fall. Not yet. In his golden palace he still roared, his voice breaking but not broken. "They will pay," he whispered. "I will bring every world to ruin before I let them win." His last weapon was not fleets, not dreadnoughts, but fear itself. He ordered whole planets burned, billions sacrificed, hoping to remind the galaxy that the Empire was still terror. But even this twisted fire turned against him. For the galaxy saw the truth. They saw not strength but madness. They saw not power but weakness. And the more planets he burned, the more voices joined the humans. The scarred old leader heard these cries. He knew the final storm was near. He gathered his council, his eyes dark. "The Empire is dying," he said. "But dying beasts thrash hardest. We must be ready, for their end will come with fire." The council nodded, their hearts heavy but steady, and so humanity prepared for the last battle, not to survive but to finish what had begun. The galaxy trembled, the Empire faltered, and all eyes turned to Earth. No longer a forgotten rock, but the spark of a fire no star could extinguish. The galaxy had become a storm. The Empire, once unshakable, now cracked across every border. Fleets deserted, worlds rebelled, governors fled, and still the cry of humans echoed louder than cannons. Still here, the scarred old leader stood, in the war hall of Earth, maps glowing with flames of rebellion, stars flashing where battles raged. His commanders spoke with urgency. "The Empire is breaking," one said, "but its heart still beats. The Emperor hides behind walls of fire. If he is not ended, the war will never truly end." The old man nodded slowly, his eyes heavy with years. "Yes," he said, "the beast must be cut at the head, or it will rise again." So the plan was made. The target was the throne world itself, the glittering jewel of the Empire, a planet of crystal, towers, golden palaces, endless fleets. It was the heart of chains, the place from which orders of fear had spread for centuries. The humans would not fight alone. This time their fleet sailed with rebels of 100 species, ships once broken now flying with banners of freedom, engines, burning with hope. It was not just war. It was an uprising of the galaxy. As the fleet gathered, the people of Earth filled the bunkers and cities. They sang songs older than memory. They lit fires on the hills. Their voices carried into the night sky. Children whispered prayers for mothers and fathers. Elders touched steel walls with trembling hands. "Come back to us," they said. The old leader walked among them, silent, his scarred face lit by the glow of fire. He placed his hand on the head of a small child. The boy looked up with wide eyes. "Will we win?" he asked. The old man smiled faintly. "We already have," he whispered. The fleet rose from Earth, a storm of patched steel and scarred fighters, joined by ships of every shape, rebels who had once fought alone now flying. Together, the galaxy watched as they moved, billions of eyes fixed on the forgotten rock that had become a beacon. The throne world glittered ahead, its defenses rising like mountains, fleets layered thick, cannons blazing. The Emperor's voice thundered across every channel. "You dare, you vermin, you forgotten dust! You dare to come here!" But the humans answered with silence, their ships moving like knives, their weapons, striking not with numbers, but with precision, breaking supply lines, cutting shields, tearing through the chaos. The battle shook the stars. Rebels fought with cries of freedom. Humans drove forward with fury. Alien fleets once loyal to the Emperor broke and fled. The throne world burned above its own skies. Inside the Golden Palace, the Emperor raged, his claws tearing through silk, his eyes wild. "I am eternal," he screamed. "No rock, no insect, no human will unmake me." But the walls shook, the doors burst, and into the palace walked humans, scarred, tired, but unbroken, led by the old man himself. The Emperor sneered, his towering form glittering with gold. "You are nothing," he spat. "Your world was nothing. Your people forgotten. How dare you rise?" The old man lifted his rifle, his voice steady. "We dared because you left us no choice," he said. "You tried to erase us, but you only gave us silence to sharpen our will." The Emperor roared and charged, his claws flashing, his power burning. But the humans did not flinch. They fought not with fear, but with unity. Dozens striking as one, their blades cutting through his pride, their will stronger than his fury. The Emperor fell, his golden crown shattered, his voice fading into silence. The throne world shook with the news. The Empire's fleets broke. Its governors fled, its chains shattered. The galaxy erupted in cries not of fear but of freedom. The humans stood upon the fallen throne, their scarred old leader raising his hand, his voice carried across every channel, every world, every star. "We were forgotten," he said, "but we are still here, and we will never be forgotten again." The galaxy roared, worlds cheered, slaves wept, rebels sang. Humanity had not only survived, they had become the spark that freed countless others, but even in victory, the humans did not claim crowns. They did not build thrones. Instead, they built bridges. They turned battlefields into councils. They turned weapons into tools. They spoke to worlds not as rulers but as brothers. "We are not here to rule," they said. "We are here to remind you that no chain is unbreakable." The old leader, his body weak, walked once more through the rebuilt streets of Earth. Children ran past him, their laughter echoing. People worked in sunlight. Cities grew again. He smiled faintly. "We were dust," he whispered. "Now we are fire." At last he sat beneath a tree planted where ruins once lay. He closed his eyes, his breath slow, his lips forming one last word. "Remember." And the galaxy did. For centuries afterward, stories spread not of empires, not of crowns, but of a forgotten rock that rose, of humans who waited in silence, who fought with fury, who freed the chained. The galaxy wrote a new record, not of extinction, but of survival, not of weakness, but of will, and at the end of every tale, whispered in markets, in schools, in songs, one phrase remained, still here, here.